Conference Finals between the Celtics and the Heat. Number 1 seed, the Miami Heat. They've been dominant at home this postseason, outscoring opponents by 17 points an outing. 4 of the last 5 teams to do that went on to win the NBA Finals. The Celtics, they've leaned heavily on Jason Tatum, and the 24-year-old star has delivered. Tatum has averaged over 33 points per game in his last 4 games, with Boston winning 3 of those 4 contests. Likewise, Miami has depended heavily on Jimmy Butler. The 11-year veteran is averaging nearly 29 points per game this postseason. That's nearly double his production from last year's playoffs when the Heat were swept in 4 games. How valuable is Jimmy in the conference semis? Well, he led the team in points, rebounds, assists, steals, and blocks against Philly. It was the second time Butler led the Heat in all 5 categories in a series. The only other player to do that in a single series in Heat history, LeBron James. James did that in the 2013-2014 conference finals against the Pacers. For much more, here's NBA Countdown. And Greeny, take it away.
All right, Kevin, thank you very much. LeBron James was playing for the Heat the last time this building hosted the Eastern Conference Finals, and the fans will be ready tonight. They'll start streaming in here on a typically hot Miami evening, hoping to cheer their team to a victory tonight in Game 1 with Stephen A. Smith, Jalen Rose, and Michael Wilbon joins us as well. And you just heard from Kevin Negandhi the somewhat startling news that we just received, that the Celtics will play Game 1 tonight without 2 critical starters. Marcus Smart, that's not quite the surprise, as he has a foot injury. We wondered. He was listed as questionable. He will not play tonight. But the breaking news is that Al Horford is now in health and safety protocols, an incredibly important piece of the Celtic team, and he will not play in tonight's Game 1. So again, we bring Wilbon in, but I will start with you, Stephen A. Smith. What is your immediate reaction to this very disappointing news for Boston, obviously?
That the Boston Celtics will lose Game 1. That's where I'm just at with it. You're down 2 starters. You need to be fully loaded to beat the Miami Heat. This is a highly respectable team. They're the number 1 seed in the Eastern Conference. They've got a star in Jimmy Butler, a bunch of supplementary parts surrounding him. They're an elite defensive team at that. If you're the Boston Celtics, it's not that you can't beat them, because you certainly can, but you need all your horses ready to roll. And when you've got Al Horford down now, and plus your defensive player of the year, Marcus Smart, that puts more pressure on Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown to produce on both ends of the floor. And of course, your depth is compromised to some degree as well, because you're asking for more from them without your starters available to you. This doesn't look good.
And on top of that, Jalen, they have the short turnaround, as the Heat have been sitting and resting since Thursday night when they wrapped up the Sixers, while the Celtics just finished what was really a 7-game war against the Bucks just 48 hours ago.
It actually isn't a death blow. And Stephen A. got the Miami memo. He's wearing white, and he came out hot, right? But here's in all honesty, Pritchard played well in the last game. Him and Grant combined for 41 points, while Jaylen Brown and Tatum have 42. So he'll get more minutes. Robert Williams will return up front. He'll be defensive against Bam Adebayo. It's a true chance for Bam to get going offensively. He really struggled in particular against Joel Embiid. He may get a chance to get going, but I'm not necessarily going to count the Celtics out without 2 starters, because they've showed they've had depth all season.
So, Michael Wilbon, we get this news literally right as we come on the air. Give us your overview on the series, and obviously these 2 players that Boston will be missing at least for Game 1.
Well, we heard all day and we thought that Marcus Smart was questionable. And in my mind, that meant Marcus Smart was going to play. Now we get the news that he's not going to play. Remember, the Celtics did win a game in the last series without Marcus Smart on the floor. So they were able to do that. But now when you're talking about missing a second starter and missing a veteran guy who's been through these, sorts of games and situations with Al Horford, I think I'm more with Stephen A. Not all the way there. I'm not going to say it means a loss, but it doesn't bode well for Boston, particularly needing some depth, because they're just coming off that emotionally grueling series in games 6 and 7 against Milwaukee. And I thought we're going to be at a disadvantage anyway. And now you tell me they're less than whole, and much less than whole. It certainly favors Miami at home in Game 1.
Well, listen, I love how Wilbon and Jalen disagree with me. You asked me what was on my mind. You asked me what's the first thought that came to my mind. I didn't ask for a prediction. You asked what was on my mind, and I told you I think they're going to lose because of it.
You are seeing Jaylen Brown, who's out here early getting shots up. We have more information here, because health and safety protocols can mean a lot of different things. That could easily mean, as we play every other day now, it may not just be 1 game that Al Horford misses. We'll keep a close eye on all of that. We have a 1-hour countdown coming your way.
There's only so many ways that you can spin around this Miami Heat team, as great as they are. But the higher level you go, the better the team is that you're playing against. Sometimes you just don't have the options to pull out the bag. Just look at Milwaukee. They didn't have many options after Chris Middleton went down.
I thought it was the other way around. I thought if you have less bodies, then you have to have more adjustments.
But you can't adjust if you don't have bodies.
Yeah, I mean, I'm talking about your superstar bodies. Like, I mean, like, you still have personnel that you could do. Like, for example, Duncan Robinson haven't played. You could put him in. Like, I don't see what adjustments Ime Udoka could really make.
So your answer is Spo?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, Zach?
I'm with Perk. I think it's Spo for the same reason. If you got less weapons, you might have to try more stuff. And I think two things I'm looking.
You can't try more stuff. You can't keep shooting water guns from different angles.
Shooting water gun?
Yeah, that's how you shoot a water gun.
Spo could rob a bank with a water gun.
Yes, he could.
Okay, Spo is that creative.
Yes, he
Okay.
So that tickled you? That
was ball.
So
Right in the armpit.
Two things for Miami. Number one, I think they got to look to maybe not run, but play fast, hit ahead after rebounds. If they get in a slog with Boston's defense, they're not going to score enough to win. And number two, I think Jimmy Butler's got to play like he played at the end of the Philly series, which is whatever attempts at mismatch bully ball Boston offers, and it ain't much, but Peyton Pritchard, Derek White, Daniel Tice, hunt those mismatches and just play bully ball or get to the line. That's their only chance to score enough points, unless Boston turns the ball over a lot. And I think that's the bellwether stat to look for.
I understand what you guys are saying. We're going to agree to disagree. I think the person with more options has more options. And Boston is fully healthy. They have all the pieces. So if all of a sudden Miami goes big or goes small, Boston can handle that. Miami doesn't have a lot of pieces to kind of mix and match, even though they have guys they need to play.
You've seen Spo try every zone in the book, every rotation.
Yeah.
You know he's going to bust it out, even if it's from a position of weakness or adjustment. He's going to try everything.
Mm-hmm. That's fair.
All right, you guys aren't ready for what's next. I promise you that, because we heard, Perk, I understand, not only do you have a pep talk for Jason Tatum, but you also have something special up your sleeve?
I do. And look, being that I've spent
took off your glasses for this?
I did. You got a problem with it? Hey, look, I'm going to get straight to it, okay? No interruption. Jason Tatum, look, you have a chance to have one of the greatest individual runs in NBA history. You already then gave a spanking to Kevin Durant. You already gave a spanking to the best player in the league in Giannis Antetokounmpo. Now you're going against the Miami Heat, who's the #1 team in the Eastern Conference. You get past this, and then you go up against a Luka Doncic or Steph Curry. No one can tell you nothing. And guess what? Somebody in that top 75, greatest player of all time, going to have to move to the side, my brother.
I don't think it worked that way.
Don't tell me how it worked. It's going to work how I want it to work. And this is how it's going to work. JT, handle your business.
He ain't lying, though. Hey, look, he ain't lying. If JT goes on that run and takes
and win Finals MVP,
yeah, look.
That's a gauntlet.
Yeah, 100%. That definitely puts him in like the top 7 player in the league conversation.
Oh, he's there now.
Yeah. I'm just saying that completes it. There is no more conversation.
You need to see a little bit more.
I want to win a championship. I want to win a championship. Doing these things are the things.